Shalom, shalom. This week in Israel, we are reading Parshat Masei, and the rest of the world is finally going to catch up, even though they're going to be reading two Parshiot, Matot, which we read in Israel last week, and Masei, and now the next few weeks for sure, we will be on the same page, talking about the same Parsha and reading the same Parsha on Shabbat. And I'd like to share a quick thought that I had with you on this week's Parsha, Masei. And it opens up with God telling Moshe to write down the encampments that the Jewish nation had from the time they left Egypt, Mitzrayim, until now when they're about to enter the land of Israel. And there are 42 encampments mentioned. And some of these are the first time that we're hearing their name. We didn't hear them in the past. And it's been said the reason why that we don't know about them, they're new to our ears, because nothing earth-shattering happened in those encampments that it was worthwhile to tell us about. And the other ones that we do know is because something monumental happened, either some uh, grave sin, like let's say the Cheta Egel, the sin of the golden calf, or the sin of the spies, Cheta Meraglim, and those greatly affected the course of our history, and we were meant to learn lessons from them, or other things that somehow impacted the character of the Jewish nation, or lessons to be learned, and therefore those were the ones that we heard about, and the rest of them, no need. So the question is, well, then why do we need to hear it now? Why is God telling Moshe to have it mentioned now, have it written down at this moment in history? And I think that there's an important lesson here. I think that in our lives, we think that the things that have really had an impact on who we are, and they do, are either great tragedies or, these earth-shattering moments that we recall many times, and we know how they've affected our lives, and we see that. But there are other things that we think that have happened in our life that are inconsequential and that they don't mean anything. We say that didn't mean anything to me. That doesn't mean anything to me. That you know is basically just air pollution and didn't affect me in any which way, shape, or form. But I don't believe that there is anything that the brain computes, anything that you see, hear, smell, taste, or sounds, where you sleep, all of this somehow has an impact on who we are. Everything that comes into this brain, it triggers different things, it's connected to different things. You don't know why all the time. When we ourselves in our own lives don't sometimes know how something impacts us. Sometimes you'll hear people say, I just don't like the way that smells, or I just don't, that doesn't appeal to me. I don't know why. I can't explain to you. I just don't like that. And a lot of times there'll be some subconscious reason that we picked up something and we connect it to something else, and we're not always aware of what that is. And I really believe that every single thing that happens, or every single thing that we take in, somehow affects us in some way, shape, or form. And I really think it's an important thing to recognize, and that for me specifically, I have certain goals and things that I want in my life. And if I know that everything will go into, how I feel going into doing something, then I want to put myself in an environment that everything is conducive to get me towards that goal. And whatever might not be conducive towards that goal, I'm going to try and steer away from, whatever it might be, right? Like even small things that we think don't make a difference do make a difference. And everything goes into our decision making. And so I think that we should all keep that in mind, because everybody wants success in whatever they want to do. And that we need to know that everything in our lives has impacted us, and everything will. And so from now on, we make wise choices to get us to where we want to be going. And we don't know what that is. That's why God told Moshe, you write this and this and this down, because God does know. God knows how each of those journeys has changed the character of the nation, or what it went into and how it affected them. And just even maybe by mentioning it, it might trigger something in those people that will you know, put them either in a certain frame of mind or a certain feeling, which is what they needed now going in for whatever reason that God knew that we might not know. I think it's important for all of us to keep that in mind, and that will help us to live the better lives that we want. With that, I wish you a Shabbat Shalom.